Somewhere in the Bhojpur district of Bihar, a carefree 5-year-old recites his tables, blissfully unaware of the disaster that could have written his story differently. The child's mother, Maya Devi, looks back to that day in 2013 when the river Kosi burst its banks.
तो घर के आगे पीछे पानी सगल भरा था, उस कैसे सोचे कि कैसे जाए था, इन्हें अस्पताल तो हजे ना, गांव में बात तो फिर पैसा लगी, पैसा हजे नहीं के, तो गाड़ी कौन चलते नहीं के.
A heavily pregnant Maya Devi was not only rescued by some extraordinary men in uniform, they also delivered her child on the rescue boat itself.
चार आदमी जैकेट पहन के गोनी जाए, बीच पानी में लड़का हो गया.
Inspector Rakesh Kumar takes us back to that fateful day.
3 सितंबर लगभग 2:30 बजे हमें कॉल आया. इंद्रजीत सिंह नाम के थे, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारी वाइफ को बहुत जोरों से लेबर पेन हो रहा है, तो जल्द से जल्द आप आ जाएं. टीम को लेकर वहां पहुंचे. वहां का सिचुएशन देखने के बाद तुरंत उनको बोट पे लेके सदर हॉस्पिटल आरा के लिए निकले. लेकिन जैसे ही बीच गंगा के पास पहुंचे तो उनका पेन और बढ़ गया. तो हमने उनके जो हस्बैंड थे इंद्रजीत सिंह, उनसे परमिशन लिया कि हम लोग वेल ट्रेंड हैं, हम लोग चाइल्ड बर्थ करवा सकते हैं. अभी जैसा सिचुएशन है इनका डिलीवरी करवाना पड़ेगा, अगर आप परमिशन दें तो. फिर हम लोगों ने बीच गंगा में ही बच्चे का जन्म करवाया. उसके बाद सरकारी हॉस्पिटल सदर हॉस्पिटल को भी इन्फॉर्म किया. वो भी अपना एम्बुलेंस लेकर किनारे पर आ गए. जैसे ही हम लोग पहुंचे तो वहां पर डॉक्टर की टीम आ गई थी. उन्होंने देखा और उन्होंने हमारी टीम को बहुत शाबाशी दी कि बहुत अच्छी तरह से आपने डिलीवरी करवाया.
Inspector Rakesh Kumar was not from any ordinary force.
इंद्रजीत सिंह ने हमें धन्यवाद भी दिया. उन्होंने बोला कि हमारे बच्चे का जन्म एनडीआरएफ की बोट में हुई है, तो इसका नाम एनडीआरएफ सिंह ही रखूंगा.
It was just another day at work for an extraordinary force, the National Disaster Response Force, or NDRF. NDRF Singh is not the only child born under such unusual conditions. The NDRF is about many such riveting stories of assisting childbirths, over 1,700 rescue operations, 6 lakh plus lives saved in its short lifespan of 13 years. Imagine being under the rubble of a collapsed building, or on the rooftop of a house which is almost submerged by water with not a single soul around to hear you. That eerie silence in the dark, without any food or light or mode of communication. Imagine being swayed away with strong currents of water that have entered your village, and you trying to hold on to anything that might save you. Anything at all. You are trying to hold on to life. Hold on to hope. And there you see a savior. In August 2018, 31-year-old Kartika and her 20-day-old baby were awaiting a similar rescue when Deputy Commandant Aditya Pratap Singh of the NDRF showed up with his team.
जब इसने एनडीआरएफ की बोट देखी, इसने मदद के लिए हमारी टीम को पुकारा और हमारी टीम गई, इनको फर्स्ट फ्लोर से निकालकर इनको लेके आई. हमारी टीम जब इनको वहां पर इनको छोड़ा और इनकी बेटी की हैंडओवर करी, तो उस टाइम उसने बोला कि मैंने एनडीआरएफ की ऑरेंज यूनिफॉर्म में भगवान को देखा, आप मेरे लिए भगवान बन के आए थे.
Echoes Commandant Manish Ranjan.
They are looking us the color of our uniform and surrendering before us. मुझे बचा लो, save me.
The color that symbolizes hope and the men and women wearing it become our angels in orange. Successive calamities like the Gujarat earthquake of 2001 and the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004 called for a specialist response mechanism at the national level that was proactive, holistic and integrated. Out of this came the Disaster Management Act of 2005 and the Elite Force in Orange.
This is right now probably the biggest specialized disaster response force in the world.
The Director General of the Force, S.N. Pradhan, tells us how the NDRF is designed for a place like India, with varied climatic conditions and terrain, and hence extremely challenging.
It has 12 battalions in place, and 4 more battalions have been sanctioned, so you are looking at something like 20,000 personnel in the days to come. And customized to India because unlike many disaster response forces which are called in normal parlance emergency response force like the FEMA of United States, it's not a force as such but an authority, and then there are volunteers who work, and then there are workers who answer to the disasters. Unlike that, we have deputationist force which are brought from paramilitary forces. All paramilitary forces are represented, and the customization is very unique because they have all verticals. They are dealing with collapse structures, they are working as medical first responders, they are handling aquatic disasters, and they can handle CBRN, the chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear. So the umbrella of expertise it's like multi-expertise force which the same unit can provide depending on the situation. So that's why I call it a customized force for all kinds of disasters in India, and that makes it very unique.
Unique it is. They are expanding their operational horizons for the future in a manner that incorporates any and all contingencies which may arise tomorrow. (2018) saw Kerala battered by one of the worst natural calamities of the century, when devastating floodwaters and lashing rains triggered landslides, sending torrents sweeping through cities and villages, sweeping all in their path.
The morning of August 17, 2018, it was a sunny day, but the floodwaters were increasing inch by inch, minute by minute, and surrounding the roads and the houses around us. I felt the most scared and I didn't know what to do.
Smita Sunil, a teacher from Thrissur, was evacuated to her neighbour's house, along with her 76-year-old mother, by the NDRF bravehearts.
As I sat in my neighbour's house, the NDRF team were the most friendly people, and each time they passed the house, they waved out at us, and they even visited us from time to time to ask us if we wanted to shift from that house, because no other houses around our place, about 1,000 odd houses, were all vacated, and only 2 houses were occupied, including the one where I was staying in. They were making innumerable trips in front of my eyes, bringing old people, animals in their boats. Fortunately, knowing the language Hindi definitely helped me a lot there. That's when I realized how helpful it is to know languages, because there were people coming so far away, as far from Ghaziabad, and they were working in a place like Kerala where people were unable to communicate with them. But everybody, including the local people and the NDRF team, were able to communicate with each other, because in that such a difficult situation, they were talking, I don't know in what language it was, maybe it was that situation that helped them to communicate, to say what was happening, and to guide them to the places to say where the people are still stuck in some very far away places.
Commandant Rekha Nambiar, the only woman to head one of the 12 NDRF battalions, says rescue is a language of its own.
People see in your eyes that you're coming there to help, and then even if you're not able to communicate in words, the communication is complete. My battalion is very sensitive to the fact that we are working in an area where Hindi is not the lingua franca. So we have our classes where we teach our men, those who come from the north as well, not anything in detail, but are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Do you need a doctor? Can we help you? Or we have come to help you, don't be afraid. Rescue is a language of its own.
And what is the value system of these incredible men and women who routinely walk into the jaws of death to fulfill their humanitarian mandate.
You are doing something to reach out and to help a fellow human being when he is at his vulnerable worst. So every small thing counts. And the second thing that we think is, if it were my family there and I were not able to extend assistance, what would I wish that the people who come in would offer my family? And these are the two guiding principles in which we go out to do work.
So, what really happens when the NDRF gets a distress or SOS call? How do they swing into action? We take you behind the scenes to the control room at the headquarters of its 8th Battalion in Ghaziabad on the outskirts of Delhi.
जैन सर 8 एनडीआरएफ गाजियाबाद से हेड कांस्टेबल टेली एनडीआरएफ से बोल रहे हो? जी सर।
अरे भैया यहाँ पे एक बिल्डिंग गिर गई है, बहुत बड़ी बिल्डिंग थी, 3-4 मंजिला बिल्डिंग।
सर ये लोकेशन बताएंगे सर?
ये उल्लावास नगर है, गुड़गांव में।
The control room operator calls the local administration for confirmation.
जैन सर 8 एनडीआरएफ गाजियाबाद से सर, मैं हेड कांस्टेबल टेलीकॉम परवीन बोल रहा हूँ सर। सर जी सर, एसडीएम सर बोल रहे हैं सर आप? अच्छा सर, ये अभी हमारे को इन्फॉर्मेशन मिली है तो उन्होंने बताया उल्लावास गांव में 4 मंजिला इमारत गिरी है। तो सर यहाँ पर कितने लोग दबे होने की आशंका है सर?
Calls go out to the commandant and the alert teams.
Tango 2 Alpha 5.
Tango 2 replying.
सर अपनी टीम को अभी मार्च के मूव करना है अभी।
An official inventory count is done.
Tango 2.
Tango 2 replying.
सर अपनी रिपोर्ट दीजिए।
Subordinate officer 06, other rank 30, dog 02, bus 01, 5 ton 01, ready for move.
रोजर सर रोजर।
Once informed, the teams come alive and the action shifts to the field. They are charged up and raring to go.
कंट्रोल रूम द्वारा सूचना मिली है कि उल्लावास नगर गुड़गांव में 4 मंजिला बिल्डिंग क्लॉप्स हो गई है। क्या आप सर्च एंड ऑपरेशन में जाने के लिए तैयार हैं?
टीम टासी
ऑपरेशन से संबंधित सर्च इक्विपमेंट, कटिंग इक्विपमेंट, लिफ्टिंग इक्विपमेंट के साथ 5 टन जाने के लिए तैयार है श्रीमान।
कम्युनिकेशन
एचएफ स्टेशन, वीएचएफ स्टेशन, क्यूडीए, इनमार सेट रेडी है श्रीमान।
मेडिकल वैन,
स्ट्रक्चर फर्स्ट एड बॉक्स के साथ एम्बुलेंस रेडी है सर।
डॉग स्क्वाड,
2 डाक 2 हैंडलर जाने के लिए रेडी है सर।
In less than 30 minutes, the rescuers are on the move towards the affected area. They know that every second saved is another life saved. Once at the site, these specialized personnel swing into action, cutting into concrete, extricating the survivors, rushing them to the nearest hospitals. It's all a well-choreographed drill.
भाई जगह खाली करो। दो विक्टिम डिटेक्ट कर लिए गए हैं, अभी उनके अप्रोच बनाई जा रही है। ओवर। रोजर सर। बेड सीट आएगा किसी के पास?
Also hard at work are the sniffer dogs. The dog squad is a very important part of the rescue team. It is a bond between the canine trainer and the dog, where the trust between the two leads them into the most difficult of situations to search for and rescue a human life or retrieve a dead body. The training area at the 8th Battalion in Ghaziabad has various collapsed structures under which men are hidden for the canines to find. They bark whenever they find any signs of a human. And he has found what he was looking for. Their sniffing capacity, which can be up to 1 lakh times greater than that of humans, is a real asset to the operation. These animals have saved many with their swift action and alertness, be it a collapsed structure search and rescue or finding explosives or drugs. Constituted as it is with personnel from different central paramilitary forces, how is the mindset of NDRF changed from shoot to kill to save a life? A rigorous training involving psychosocial methods, disaster simulations, disaster matrices. It takes a lot to become the best and the most specialized disaster responders in the world. But the smiles on the faces of those rescued makes it all worthwhile.
Thank you, NDRF. It's not easy living in such difficult times always like you people. We only face it for few hours or maybe few days. But for you, it's literally your life. You're always living such a life, moving on from one difficult situation to the other. Hats off to you people, becoming as our saviors.
One mission after another. Situations worse than anything imaginable. Separation from family and loved ones. All of this at times takes a toll on the mental health of the saviors. Commandant Manish Ranjan, who heads the NDRF Academy at Nagpur, takes us into the minds of the rescuers and how the stress is dealt with.
Our own responders may get traumatized, may lie under depression. They see the blood, there are a number of dead bodies, people's, they are amputated limbs, the extremities, body extremities, some of the organs are coming out. It's a very painful situations there. At times they freeze. These are the real situations, and for this we train our people. How to remain calm, cool, composed, and remain focused to your task and duty of protecting and saving lives.
To help humanity, they would go anywhere. Be it the triple disaster, earthquake, tsunami, and radiation leakage of Fukushima in Japan in 2011, or the Nepal earthquake of 2015. Their efforts in rebuilding societies across the globe have received laurels and love from everywhere. DIG Operations Randeep Rana recognizes that disasters and rescue operations transcend borders.
NDRF teams, they were first to reach Nepal. It was NDRF's second experience working outside the country. And when our teams started working there, the first and foremost emotion was people in suffering, they are alike. Whether they are of different nationalities, their needs, their requirements, their emotions, they are all similar. And working with people in Nepal, we never felt we are outside our country. And the level, kind of fraternity we witnessed there. And I'm not wrong if I say disasters, they bring suffering, no doubt, but at the same time, they unite the people also.
The NDRF comes under the National Disaster Management Authority, or NDMA, the country's apex body responsible for disaster management and risk mitigation. Kamal Kishore, member NDMA, is all praise for the NDRF for its role of rescue and rebuilding after the Nepal earthquake.
The proportion of international responders from India in the form of NDRF was less than 20% of the total, yet they were responsible for more than 80% of the live rescues in Nepal. So that was very satisfying to see that NDRF, not just by virtue of its proximity to the affected country, but also by virtue of its understanding, its capabilities, its equipment, its organization, was able to launch a very effective response. They not only earned the goodwill of the common people of Nepal, but also of the functionaries, the government functionaries, the army teams of Nepal. So that was a very satisfying moment for us to see NDRF rising to the occasion in an international response, but also winning the hearts and minds of our friends in our neighboring country.
Arjun Prasad Bastola, a renowned religious leader from Nepal, adds,
सबसे पहले पहुंचने वाली अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सहयोग एनडीआरएफ थी। दूसरी बात यह है कि जाते ही ये लोग जो है काम पे जुड़ जाते हैं, हर जगह पहुंचे हैं, ये पहाड़ों में भी पहुंचे हैं, जो शहरी एरिया है वहां भी पहुंचे हैं। इन्होंने मतलब कि लोगों को खाना पीना तक मुहैया कराया है। एनडीआरएफ ने सबसे बेस्ट सर्विस दिया।
Winter, spring, summer or fall,
Yes, winter, spring, summer or fall, all you have to do is call. And these angels in orange will be there, our friends in times of dire need.
You've got a friend.
Back in Thrissur, the lack of any means to call heightened the traumatic experiences of Smita Sunil during the floods.
We were very much painful, we were very scared, and we didn't know what was happening because the one thing that happened was the communication system broke down entirely. The phones were not working, we didn't have any current, we didn't know what was happening in the outside world, and we were totally cut off.
Communication is the first casualty of any disaster. DIG Operations Randeep Rana states that the need of the hour is a specialized communication channel.
For that, NDRF has a very excellent kind of alternate communication arrangements that is basically satellite based, and our team, they are equipped with small satellite antennas. Wherever our teams go, they erect the antenna, and it takes not more than 15-20 minutes to erect, and at places where there is no communication available, there also NDRF teams, they establish their communication. They not only use it for their own operational purposes, but they also try to make people speak to their relatives. Often we help people to send their messages to their relatives, dear and near ones, who are worried about them.
Disaster comes in many forms: radiation leaks, forest fires, cyclones, train accidents, but the one constant is the men and women in orange and their attitude of positivity. At the site of the Meghalaya mine tragedy in Jaintia Hills, Assistant Commandant Santosh Kumar Singh of the 1st Battalion was asked about what he thought there was to salvage.
This is a very right question from a layman purpose, but for we rescuers, since I am a rescuer and rescuer never lose hope. We are hopeful we will do something.
Theirs is not a story of death and despair, but of hope and survival. During the Kashmir floods of 2014, the King's Palace, Hari Nivas in Srinagar, was temporarily converted into the State Secretariat. Randeep Rana of the NDRF was on his way there when he came across a large group of stranded people on the dry stretch of road leading to Hari Nivas.
On that around 1 kilometer road stretch, which was outside water, around more than 5,000-7,000 people, they were just lying on the road, hungry, without water, without food, without medicines. And when I was going, so usually our teams, they carry emergency rations for 3-4 days. So one lady from Agra, she was not able to speak. She just motioned, "Can you give something to eat?" And all my team members, the 3 days ration, we distributed amongst the people. And the only feeling was, काश हम 3 दिन का क्यों लेके आते और ज्यादा लेके आएंगे. उसके बाद हमारी टीम ऑलमोस्ट 2 दिन तक विदाउट फूड एंड वाटर रही. एंड लेकिन उस भूख में भी इतना मजा था कि एटलीस्ट अपने राशन से हम किसी का तो मदद कर पाए.
Such heartwarming stories of sacrifices are many. Commandant Rekha Nambiar shares a few about her angels in orange, who covered themselves in glory during the Kerala floods.
I would say that I am so proud of my men. They worked selflessly, tirelessly. They are supposed to put in about 12 hours of work and then they need time for rest, even to recharge their equipment. But I had many teams who told me that they were willing to work beyond. I think in the final reckoning, they were putting in a minimum of 18 hours a day. And there were some places where the need was so strong where the men of their own accord, without even my directions, they went ahead and they staggered their shifts so that they would work 24/7.
Deputy Commandant Aditya Pratap Singh and his team from the 8th Battalion at Ghaziabad were airlifted to Kerala on 17th August 2018. Operations got underway on landing, in the darkness of the night, in unknown territory, on a river that was swelling by the minute on inflatable rescue boats. After a night-long search and rescue mission, they saved 22 lives. Aditya Pratap Singh believes they, the NDRF personnel saved more than just 22.
मुझे ऐसा महसूस होता है कि उस रात हमने 22 लोगों की नहीं 22 परिवारों को बचाया, क्योंकि जाहिर है एक जिंदगी के साथ एक परिवार जुड़ा होता है.
But what about their families?
ये मौसम नदी का किनारा ये चंचल हवा.
Aditya Pratap Singh recalls that his 4-year-old daughter's birthday was round the corner and he didn't even know when he would return home.
23 अगस्त को मेरी बेटी का बर्थडे था और 20 अगस्त से हमारी टीम रिजर्व में चली गई थी और धीरे धीरे वहां का एनडीआरएफ टीम्स का डी इंडक्शन शुरू हो गया था. तो बेटी ने फोन करके पूछा कि पापा क्या आप आओगे? तो मैंने बोला कि हो भी सकता है या नहीं भी. तब मेरी बेटी ने कहा कि कोई बात नहीं पापा, अगले साल मना लेंगे, अभी फिलहाल वहां लोगों को आपकी जरूरत ज्यादा है.
Did Aditi's father manage to reach home for her birthday?
आपके बर्थडे पे पापा नहीं थे?
अचानक आई थी.
अचानक आए थे? कहाँ गए थे?
केरल. सबको बाढ़ से बचाने.
सबको
बाढ़ से बचाने.
बाढ़ से बचाने.
While the survivors pray for someone to come and help them, the families of NDRF personnel make a different prayer, that they come back home after missions impossible and come back home fine. In this case, Aditi's father did make it home.
दिलों ने मिलकर कभी हम ना होंगे जुदा. ये रातें ये मौसम नदी का किनारा ये चंचल हवा.
फिर आगे क्या बात है आज की चांदनी में
कि हमको गए रात की रांडमी में. बाहों में राहें ये बहकी निगाहें
लुआने लगा जिंदगी का मजा. ये रातें ये मौसम नदी का किनारा ये चंचल हवा.